Other things, I'm a sextant. Okay, before you start jumping to conclusions, let me tell you a little bit what that means. It means I am a gabbai, a shamash, a community organizer at my synagogue. And as such, from time to time, there's conflict. Because when you try to organize and you're organizing people, well, people have different ideas about what should be done. And so, as the gabbai, the sextant, the shamash, I have to resolve that conflict. It's not always easy, but I found three tools that'll get me through the job. Extricate myself, if you will, from a bad situation. First, you must listen. Because if you listen, you'll understand exactly what the problem is. That means you keep your mouth closed and your ears open. Some wise person once told me that's why you've got two ears and only one mouth, is because you should be, well, not two-timing, Patrick, but at least listening with both ears. When you do that, you're able to do the next thing, and that's to mirror. If you're truly listening, then when somebody comes to you with a problem, you'll be able to mirror back what that problem is. Tell them what you understand. Use your own words to explain the situation, and they will understand that you understand, that you have that empathy, that you're able to put yourself in their position because you're explaining it in your own words, but they know that you get it. And then finally, you need to show the similarity of ideas rather than the differences of ideas. So if you've truly listened, you try to find the things that you both agree about, and you try and you show them how that agreement is going to resolve that conflict. So you look for things that will help bring people together rather than separate them. Now, this works very well in a synagogue situation, but it also works as a business owner. I've had countless numbers of people come in to tell me the correct way to run my business. I know that, well, in some situations at Ben Yehuda, when I owned the pizzeria, I found that we had too much sauce on our pizza, but not enough sauce. We had too much cheese on our pizza, but not enough cheese. We had too thick a dough, too thin a dough. Oh, well, that's how it goes. And so what you have to do is listen, empathize, mirror back. Oh, so you don't like too much cheese, and then find out how you can resolve that conflict by talking about how you agree. Hey, when you have too much cheese, it costs me money. And so I agree with you, and we're going to take and bring that down a notch. And that way you can resolve the conflict. But you know where you really get conflict? When you deal with money. And as the finance officer at the American Legion Post, let me tell you, plenty of opportunities for conflict. But again, those three simple ideas will get you through. For instance, if you're talking to somebody who really wants something, you have to really listen. And by the way, listening not only helps you with the conflict, but a lot of times, listening will help you get new ideas, things that you hadn't thought about previously. That's also a benefit. You can mirror it back. When they start having ideas about your money and the Post's money and the money that belongs to the organization, you mirror it back, tell them how it works, and then you find the similarities. I had a recent situation where people were saying, hey, they want to have more bands at the American Legion Post, which is a really great idea. I like bands. Do you like bands? Everybody likes bands. But if they're not making money, and if you're paying more money for the bands than they bring in, that's a problem, especially for a finance officer. So what you have to do is you have to get everybody on board, show them the similarities. As I said, if I explain to them that I also want that result, and I want to find a way to get to that result, then I will have people in the same boat with me. And again, we're all working together. So conflict is pretty much inevitable. I gave you 3 examples of where conflict is part of my job, but I think that you'd be hard pressed to find any area where there is no conflict. Now, I might be a sextant. That might be something that's important in a synagogue. I am no Solomon. I'm not going to be splitting any babies, but I do know that there are 3 ways that I can help resolve conflict. And that is by listening, mirroring, and by bringing in the similarities and trying to avoid pointing out the differences. And so, in difference to you all, I'm going to stop my speech here.